Welcome back to another episode of the Manny Wolfe Show. It looks like we are live. Today, my guest is author and success coach Michael BOTTS, here to discuss ostensibly and among other things, I'm sure, why success eludes you. Why is it so hard? Why can't you just make it happen? How's it going, Michael?
It's going great, brother. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Absolutely, man. Let me just take care of a little bit of housekeeping here. And in the meantime, tell me how you wound up in the field of success coaching.
Okay. I was in the Marine Corps, served in the Marine Corps, played on a national championship football team, and had 4 kids. And when these 4 kids are going, well, I homeschooled them for a little bit, but then when they started going to school, I was like, hey, can I come in and just teach a class? It's at a private school. And they were like, sure, come in. So I started doing that, and it just kind of fit and rolled, and it turned. And during that whole time, I owned a business for 25 years with amazing successes and amazing failures. And through all that experience and starting to talk in the kids and kind of getting used to, being in front of people and everything like that, it's turned into where I'm just coaching adults that own businesses and want to succeed.
So what does success mean?
That is a great question. I love that question. And that's going to mean something different to everyone.
Right.
For me, when I'm coaching someone, I want to define that for that individual.
Sure.
Because, I have one guy, he's a father, he's a business owner, he's a husband, his wellness, his fitness and wellness, all this, he wants the total package to come together. And so, someone that's just successful in finances, congratulations, I'm happy for you. But how's your health? How's your relationship with your kids? How's your, how is it at home when you go home? Those kind of things.
Right. So if success is different for every person, how can we start to create a process? How can you create a process that helps me achieve success?
Yeah. Well, there are formulas that work. Like all of us have a beating heart. Even though we all have different bodies and everything, we each have a beating heart. Yeah. Okay. So there are formulas that will help that heart be more successful. We all know that money is a catalyst for change. So getting some money would be something that no matter what your definition of success money would probably fit into that formula. There's a skeleton, and then we start putting muscles and meat on it as I get to know the person and help them.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm glad you said that about money, because I came from that, I don't know what to call it, that sort of like thought process, that mindset that somehow money didn't matter, somehow money wasn't important. And for me, as it is, I think for many, many people, right, it's a huge unwinding process and re-scripting process. It's a huge it's like an identity change to come out from that kind of indoctrination, that kind of belief.
Yeah.
So what then is your view on the role of money?
Money is a tool, and it's going to amplify who you are.
Ah, yes.
So if you're a kind, generous person and money falls in your lap, inheritance, whatever that looks like, success, then it's going to amplify your kindness and your generosity. Right. If you're an asshole, if you're a jerk, if you're selfish, then when the money comes, that's just going to amplify those things.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that my favorite analogy is there's a Bill Cosby joke from back when Bill Cosby was still socially acceptable. Sorry, Bill. Way back in the 70s on one of his albums, he talks about being at a party at the Playboy Mansion, and somebody comes up to him and says, "Would you like to try some cocaine?" And he says, "No, I don't believe I will." And the guy says, "You don't know what you're missing." He says, "Why? What does it do for you?" He says, "Oh, it amplifies your personality." And Bill Cosby says, "Yes, but what if you're an asshole?"
That's what money does.
I agree.
Money reveals money as far as success. A lot of money, whatever that means to you, will reveal your true character.
Yeah, I think so too, because it's an amplifier in the world, right?
Yes.
It gives you more options, more opportunities, more choices, more. I know that the more I make, the broader my vistas get, which is a really fascinating feeling, right? It's like one year you look and you go, wow, this is possible. And then the next year you go, whoa, wait a minute. So like, this is possible.
I love it. I love
You know, I hold this, I don't know where I read this in one of the many, many self-help books I've read, but I have this image of, it feels like it might've been Jim Rohn or it might've been Earl Nightingale talking about how, you know, if you have like the difference between different vistas, if you don't have any money, then your question may be, what's for dinner tonight?
Yes.
You know, and then if you have fabulous wealth, your question could be like, where do I fly for dinner tonight?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So I like that. That sort of guides me a lot. Well, fuels me, I should say, fuels me.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
So
I think something that it also does is that it can change the question that you ask too. Because if you're a server, if kindness, and you don't have a lot of money, you're like, okay, where can I go give some time?
Yeah.
But then as money grows, then you're like, where can I buy some time and give it to them? Or where can I serve this community? How can I build a community? How can I, you know, it gives you more impact in that world of serving.
That's an interesting idea too. As you don't have money, but you want to serve, you have to give your time.
Yes.
But if you have the opportunity to use money instead, you can literally buy time of multiple people.
Yes.
That's a really cool way to think of it.
Yes.
How did we wind up with such self-destructive ideas about money in the first place?
Probably some of it's safe, because if I'm saying, oh, money's not important to me, and, you know, I don't need money to be happy, then I don't have to put myself out there and take the risk of going and getting some. Okay. So that's one thing. And I think another thing is, if we're raised in a poor situation, a poverty situation, our mentality gets stuck of, you know, grandpa was broke, I'm broke, and you're going to be broke. It runs in the family, you know?
Yeah.
And so we have to take an opportunity and realize that's not a truth. That is a fiction. And we can change that into a truth that money, I have access to all money.
Yeah. How do we start to change that?
I think one of the things is what you say about yourself, what you say out your mouth, what you say out your mouth.
What you say out loud.
Yeah. What you say out your mouth, it goes in your inner ear, down in your soul. And now your soul and the universe are collaborating to make that happen. So if you're saying, you know, yep, we've always worked in the coal mine. Yep. Everybody works at Walmart. Yep. We always drive a Toyota. Then that you've given the universe permission for that to come to you.
Right.
And it's safe again. It's very safe to stay there. The way we transfer that is when you start saying a new truth, saying a real truth. And the real truth is that I have access to all the money I need. Now, I'm not a fluffy guy. You're going to have to work your ass off, period. You're going to have to work your ass off. You're going to have a rejection threshold. You know, what is your rejection threshold? That'll determine how much money that you can go make. Let's
talk about that for a second. Tell me what a rejection threshold is. How do I know what mine is? And if I want to, how do I change it?
Awesome. A rejection threshold is how much rejection you can take to get your dream.
Okay.
So if my dream is to stand in front of 80,000 people and offer what I offer, then how much rejection can I take to get to that dream?
Yeah.
And that's your rejection threshold. When would you quit? Okay. Now, how do we measure our rejection threshold? What did I do today to get to my dream? Did I go out and get 10 no's today? Did I talk to 10 people that have an opportunity to open a door for me to get to the next level? Did I go get my 10 no's today? If I didn't, then I would say I've capacitated that's probably not the right word. I've maximized my rejection threshold. How do you grow your rejection threshold? Be aware and then take the risk. Be aware. Okay, I'm scared to make these 10 phone calls. I'm scared to do it. And I just have to face that fear and suck it up And I have to pick up that phone that weighs 10,000 pounds. And I have to realize an email doesn't count. Text doesn't count. All that's good, but voice to voice is powerful. And if I get up and I grow my muscle, and it's sore afterwards. I'm sore and I achy and it hurts. But if I grow that muscle tomorrow, I'll be a little bit stronger. And the next day I'll be a little bit stronger. And so the way you grow your rejection threshold is by reps. Just like you grow your bicep or your brain or your heart or anything else, it's by reps.
Nice. I'm fascinated with this. It seems like there's one defining moment in, it's maybe not even a moment, but there's this one defining piece in all personal improvement and all development and all sort of codified systems for getting better. And it's where the two groups of people are separated, as far as I can see. And that's right at that moment of having the thought and then either acting on it or not.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
It's like, and pardon me, I give this a lot of thought because I know what it feels like firsthand I had a head full of personal development for years and years and years and years with no action.
Yes.
And it's interesting because I can't even really pinpoint where I started taking the action. I just know that something obviously changed because I do take action now. How do you deal with that moment? That it's the make or break, right? It's the make or break moment. It's the defining moment because if you don't do anything, I love this analogy. You're basically spending your time, if you're a Star Trek fan, you're basically spending your time in the holodeck.
Yes.
You think and think and think and think, and all this stuff seems like it's happening, but at the end of the day, there's no result.
Right. Right.
So how do you address that?
I love the story you just told. I love that. I would offer that it's not one moment. I would offer that it's gradual. It's like the scale is like this. Okay.
Okay.
And this is my no action scale. This is me. It's weighted down. And the scale, I'm not taking action. But I believe when I watch your show, I believe that if I keep feeding myself, at some point, the feeding and the positive and the getting around the right people and guarding my ear gate and my eye gate and all this stuff. And finally, tink, and I take action.
Interesting. So go ahead.
So what you said was just that. You said it looked like nothing. It looked like I'm what am I doing? My wife is saying, you're watching all these videos and you're not doing anything. You're reading all these books and you don't do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, and you're saying it to yourself. You look in the mirror and you go, what the hell, Michael? What the hell? But you don't stop. It's almost like you're addicted to it. You're in the hologram. What do you call it? The
holodeck.
Holodeck, right? I'm in the holodeck and I'm rehearsing and I think about it and I'm driving down the road and I'm saying, oh man, if I made a phone call, I'd say this. And I keep dreaming and I don't let Am I Enough drain the dream out of me. Finally, you filled it, and tink, you make that first phone call. You're scared to death, and you're like, I don't want to go on live. I don't want to. I'm going to suck at it. But finally, you make that first move. And then it goes back to the rejection threshold. Okay, I sucked at it. I totally blew this. Will I go again?
Right.
And that's one thing I really, really deposit into my clients is you are going to suck at this first.
Yeah.
You are going, I've got an attorney right now that I'm working with, and she's got to have her first video by Friday, and she is scared to death. She is traumatized, and I'm just keep building her. And the other thing that I think that really helps, Manny, is when you get your eyes off of me, myself, and I, and you start to step into serve, solve, and save.
This is maybe the most important piece we can talk about, right? Because it's the piece, it's like the secret handshake. It's the key. It's the piece without which none of the rest can take place.
Yes.
So you're suggesting that it's a threshold. It's not a moment. I suppose there is a moment that happens, but it's a threshold. That I like that. I can wrap my head around that.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And I know what you mean because I coach people on video as well. And this boy, especially video, you just watch people backpedal and make excuses in a way that I'm sure that if they saw someone else doing it, they'd go, "Oh my God, look what you're doing." Right. There's almost an irrational fear of the simple act of putting yourself out there on video. Yeah. It's really interesting. Well, let's talk about that for a minute. How do you set them up to get going on their videos?
I'll give you this prime example of this attorney. She's a divorce attorney and she wants to start being a divorce coach for men.
Yeah.
She got her target market down. And so what I did was I got a picture of a grown man sitting on the curb and I named him Harry. Mm-hmm. And I said, if you don't do this, Harry is going to commit suicide. Yeah. You are going to save his life. When this video comes out and you collide with Harry in the universe, the stuff you give him is going to keep him from taking his own life. So I've got her off of me, myself, and I of, I'm going to suck at it. I'm scared, me, myself, and I. And I've got her on to serve, solve, and save. She's going to serve Harry. Harry's life is going to be saved because she has the courage to throw that lifesaver out there to him.
I would say that, that's it's kind of, how do I want to put this? The thing that people would do well to remember when they drag their feet at something that once you do it becomes as simple as making a video. Now, before you do it, it's scary, it's daunting. I think I sucked for the first year, but after a while, it becomes utterly effortless. It's just nothing.
Yes.
Right. But the thing that I think is important is your idea of Harry and serve, solve, save. The people and the messages and the response you get from the world when you start putting yourself out there in a meaningful way, it's profound. It's so often it's from people I don't recognize, I've never met before, and I get this feedback that, hey, God, what you're doing means so much to me.
Yes.
Because it can feel like you're just sitting in your office.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You're like in this insular kind of reality when in fact, you never know who's watching.
Yeah. And you're literally saving someone's life. Man.
Yeah. You very much can be.
Get that. Yes.
Yeah. It's very much, well, you could also flip it around and say the one thing you can be guaranteed of is that if you don't do this, you'll never get the chance to serve.
Yeah. And the other thing is there's people that only you can save, Manny. I can't save them. Tony Robbins can't save them. Kyle Cease can't save them. There are people that only you can reach because of who you are, because of how you look, because of your presentation.
That's
so
right.
If you don't, those people are gone. They're lost.
Yeah.
And that makes that any human that I want to deal with has kindness and generosity in their heart. Yeah. And that would make them run into the fire, run into the fiery building.
Right. Yeah. One of the stories I tell sometimes publicly and always with my clients, I wind up telling the story, invariably they say, well, with so-and-so X, Y, and Z in the space, who would possibly hire me? And I think that at this point, I can pretty safely say that that's a thought we all have.
Yes.
As we jump into a marketplace, that's a thought that we all have to grapple with. And so I like to tell the story about when I first started my own shop as a house painter. And, the way that things are perceived and the way things look and branding is very important to me. And so I would look around look around my town and I'd see these painting outfits that had, 10 and 15 vans, and they all looked the same, and everybody looked really clean and sharp and dialed in. And I had that same feeling like, Jesus, who the hell's going to want me? Right. Fortunately, I somehow managed to go get the nerve up to go put business cards in coffee shops, because back in that, back in that day, that's what you did. And lo and behold, I started to get calls. And what I discovered is a version of exactly what you just said. Exactly what you just said.
I love this.
People would even tell me, I didn't want to hire so-and-so brothers because I'm sure they're expensive. I'm sure they don't care about me, because why would it matter? Why would they care about one little house if they've got 15 vans? and the example holds across every industry and every discipline and every industry.
I mean, think about the hamburger places that are within a mile of you if you live in a metropolitan area. It could be double digits, 25, 26. Why is that?
Right.
Why is that?
Right.
It's because we all like a little something different. We like mayonnaise. We like mustard. We like it grilled. We like it fried. We like it no meat, whatever that is. And that's the same thing with us. In the world, there are people that only each of us can reach. And this is another thing I really want us to think about is this is a very unique time in history. And the universe put you here now for this time.
Yeah. So how do we hold on to that when things get confusing, or when the business or just our personal life kind of floods into the business or whatever? What do we do to hold on to that sort of sense of the bigger mission, the bigger calling?
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love it. The first thing is you got to guard your eye gate, your ear gate, and your mouth gate.
Which are?
Your eye gate is what you're letting in your eyes.
Okay.
What are you reading? What are you watching on social media? Are you just getting the bad news? Are you scrolling? Your ear gate is what are you hearing? What are you hearing? Are you hearing just bad news? Are you hearing, you can't do it. You suck. This is another failure. What are you letting in here? And then your mouth gate is what you say. So what are you saying about yourself? Are you saying, man, I suck, or man, I can't do this? Or are you saying, I'm going to get this. I'm a winner. I can do this. Now, some people would say, well, that's just self-talk. Well, I'm telling you, it's scientifically proven. When you speak, it goes in your ear, down into your soul, and the universe and your soul are collaborating to make whatever you're saying come happen for you. Yeah. So that's ear gate, eye gate, mouth gate. And then who are you hanging out with? Show me your friends, and I'll show you your future. Of
course, yeah.
If you're hanging out with everybody that plays soccer, guess what's going to finally happen? You're going to be playing soccer.
Yeah.
If you hang out with everybody and they're doing chef and they've got the best grill, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get the best grill and start grilling. If you hang out with people that are headed down a path of failure and suck, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be on that path. And this is the thing. Some people can't let go. Like, these are my boys, man. We've been together since day one. Well, I tell you, I want to ask you that. Where are your boys going?
Yeah.
And is hanging out with your boys worth your future?
Right.
Because sometimes you're going to have to make that choice.
I think that we hear this idea so often. One of the things that I'm really fascinated by is all the mental heuristics and shortcuts that our brain puts in place to save energy, save bandwidth, save focus.
Yes.
And one of the things that I like to sort of try to shake people out of and cut through on is this idea about the impact and the importance of who you surround yourself with.
Yes.
I think it's one of those things that we need to stop for a second and kind of jar people awake with it, because we hear it so much, right? And it gets very easy to tune anything out that we hear too much.
Absolutely. I mean, a great example of that. I'm sorry, go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, I like to tell the story of, in my life, literally the biggest turnaround happened when one person, as Bob Proctor talks about your 5 closest friends, right? One person came into my life who believed in me enough to back it up. And I mean, everything changed. So it's really one of those things where I want to kind of take like an air horn and, and be like, pay attention to this. This is, even though you hear it all the time, pay attention to this.
Yes.
This can be one of the most powerful principles you can ever willfully sort of adopt in your life.
Yes.
How do we then do it? How do we change I come from a background in recovery, AA, and they say, change your playpens, change your playmates. How do we change our playmates?
I think the first thing is just what you said. It's genius. Look around you. Check those 5 people that you're spending the most time with.
Yeah.
If they're not, now we're saying, okay, we're agreed we need to change.
Yeah.
The first thing we need to do is you need to cut them off. This might sound cold and it might sound hard, but we're talking about you getting to your future, to your success, what we started talking about. So you're going to have to cut them off, and it's going to suck and it's going to be lonely. But here's the thing. If you don't replace them, it's like an old couch sitting out in the curb that you got rid of. It's comfortable. It feels good. You love it. But if you don't get a new couch, you're finally going to go back out to the curb and drag that couch in and start setting it again. So we got to get new friends.
Yeah.
Now, where do you just find out where they hang out? There's just networking and so many there's so much free stuff to hang out with people in the world. If you're choosing to hang out with people that aren't going in the life where you want to go, that is a choice that's a conscious choice. Yeah. Anybody in the sound of our voices, it's a conscious choice they're making right this second. And I would offer this. I would offer that it's selfish to stay with them. It's safe and it's selfish. It's selfish because now I don't get you in all your glory and your beautifulness. Yeah. You're supposed to save me, and you hang out with your 5 partners and you don't become the glorious person you're supposed to be. And so I don't get you. And secondly, it's safe because there's no risk in going and hanging out with your people that aren't going anywhere. There's no risk in that. When you step into a room and you're not the richest guy in the room, and you're not the richest girl in the room, and you're not the prettiest girl in the room, that's a risk. But that's where you grow.
Yeah. I think we're sort of doing a nice job here of getting to the question that this whole conversation is about, which is, why does success elude you?
Yes.
Because it's hard. Right? It's hard. And it's not hard like I have to lift a heavy weight.
Right.
It's hard. It's hard in the way of self-doubt.
Yes.
Lack of clear vision, clear vision, lack of clear steps.
Yes.
So it's hard in all these ways that are really nebulous. Really, really, you're not going to know the right thing every time.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
It's a really sort of zigzaggy, broken path.
Yeah. And I think the thing that I offer is there's 4 steps: risk, fail, learn, repeat.
Yeah.
If you can live by this, if you can tattoo it onto your heart, and today go out and risk. Don't hang out with your girls that you drink wine with. Go to a networking meeting.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a risk. And you may not fit in, you may not have dressed right, whatever that. You're going to fail. Okay. Now the platinum of this formula is the learn.
Yeah.
What did you learn? Okay, I need to show up early. Okay, I need to wear heels. Okay, I need to smile more and get into the crowd more. Whatever that learn is. And then tomorrow night, do the same thing. Find another place and get out away from your comfort zone and grow again. When you risk, fail, learn, repeat daily, you will break the shackles of am I enough? You will break the shackles that's holding you back from your success.
Yeah. I mean, I get it when people don't want to do that. I look back now and see fortunate that the way that I was living before became absolutely untenable to me. It was unacceptable. I was, nobody wrote a better song to describe my life than Sinatra with My Way.
Nice.
I was just, I hit those bottoms and was like, I don't care what happens. I have to make a change. I have to make, and so I come at it from this belief that you got to have some grit. You got to have some backbone. You got to have some moxie. I was on someone else's interview yesterday, and we were talking about change and personal improvement, as we all do. And I was telling him, I think that you've got to be able to access that street fighter.
Yes.
You got to be able to access that animal, because despite what you're sold, most of change and improvement is a muddy, hard slog.
Yes.
But
yes.
Here's the beauty of it, and I don't have to tell you this, but we'll tell them. It doesn't stay that way.
Yes. Yes. Right? And I would offer this. You were born with that grit.
Yeah.
You were born with it. It is in you. I promise you, you were born with it, because this is what happened. You were born in I am enough. That's how you learn to walk, talk, and eat without ever worrying about rejection, without worrying about failure. Big brother was saying, oh, he's never going to walk. He got spaghetti all over his face. You didn't care, because you were in that grit. You were in I am enough. But then we get caught in the riptide of life, and we get sucked out into the ocean of am I enough? And out there is where we're all trying to make this gritty change that you're talking about. Mm-hmm. And we have to go back to the fundamentals of eye gate, ear gate, mouth gate, and your friends, because that is where you're going to start revealing the I am enough that you're born with.
Those things together sort of define the boundaries of your reality, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. I like it, man. I'll tell you what my pleasant surprise in this conversation has been so far is most of what you're talking about is very down to earth. It's very practical. There's not a lot of sort of feel good guru double speak in there.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me, man.
Well, you're welcome. It's something that is, when I can say that to somebody sincerely, it's kind of a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a million of them. There's more feel good gurus than you could possibly ever need in your lifetime.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, you have to look at, am I moving the needle for myself? Do I have grit? Do I have will? Am I willing to get out into this discomfort, get out into these things? Am I willing to take a stark analysis of my friends and the inputs into my head and what am I saying to myself and all this stuff? And it's particularly kind of salient to me as the father of an 18-year-old boy who's, he's a little insecure. He's not, I don't know why I thought my son would be the captain of the football team. I don't know where that came from, but, because I wasn't as a kid, but somehow I got it in my head that he was just going to be, have this like graced and blessed life. And I can see in kids, especially, like how they don't trust that moment, that first moment we talked about, or that threshold, or whatever it is however you want to characterize it. They just don't trust that it's true.
Yes.
And so I think that there's a need for simple, down to earth, sort of brass tacks ways of talking about how to make these changes.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us the name of your book?
I have it here. Can I show it? Should I
Absolutely.
Show it?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. It's called Escape Average, Go for the Big. It's time to break through what's stopping you.
So it's got 3 titles.
Well, I want to cover all the ground.
Yeah.
The editor's like, you got to take that paragraph off the front cover. I'm like, okay.
Well, I'll tell you, when I was sort of unofficially testing the title of my book, I put it out there to my friends list and just let the world go nuts on it. And an interesting thing happened. It was about 60-40, 60% liked it. 40% had these obviously very specific, oddly specific complaints about it and everything. And
don't put "and" here. Don't capitalize it.
Well, it was like people were actually showing me their own inner workings with some of the criticisms they had. It's like you actually sort of let me see all your cards there. Yeah. I know more about you now than I ever wanted to. But here's the thing. Now that it's published, now that it's out, and especially because it did well in the beginning, nobody ever has anything bad to say about the title. So that's a great title. I love it. And I think that there's a certain way that it captures the positive energy that you brought to this conversation today.
Thanks,
so,
man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Where should people go to learn more about you? Let's do the gratuitous plug, my friend.
Sure. The MichaelBottsExperience.com is my website. You can go on there. If you buy a book on the website, if you buy a book, you get a free strategy session. And
nice.
And I don't sell on strategy sessions. I'm trying to serve you, because if I sell you, I could probably talk you into something. But if I serve you and then you want to work with me, that's the kind of people I want to work with. So it's not a sales conversation. I don't do that.
All right. So the Michael Botts Experience, BOTTS, MICHAEL.
Yes.
Michael's a tricky name because some of you guys like EAL and some like AEL. So we'll just specify for them. Well, cool, man. Once again, I didn't know anything about you before this conversation, and I love doing that. I love letting people just come on, and I have a sort of something I tell people after the show, which is, had you not been able to deliver, I would have made this a very uncomfortable conversation for you.
Nice. Well, I'm so glad that didn't happen to me.
I feel like it's interesting that way, and it creates all kinds of cool synergy and moments that I didn't expect. So thank you very much, man. It was good to connect with you. Good to meet you and learn about what you're doing.
I'm grateful. And I just want to take a minute and thank you for having the courage to do what you're doing. And I really want to just spike it down to one thing. You are literally saving someone's life with what you're doing. Someone's going to see your show and they're going to make a different decision tonight than they were. And I want you to understand the power of what you're doing and keep doing it, brother. Keep doing it.
Thank you, man.